And first I would like to give the floor to colleague Schaake.
Thank you, President, Madam High Representative, Special Representative, colleagues. I'm glad we're here together to discuss this important topic. In Syria, over 150 journalists have been murdered over the past 2.5 years. The violence makes it nearly impossible to report independently on the violence and the war. In Turkey, which has more journalists in prison than any other country in the world, only this week, the President stated that social media are more dangerous than a bomb, and regulators fined media for, quote, inciting hatred. These actions speak volumes about the power of the free word. In Iran, in the run-up to the elections, the media and internet have been restricted even more than we deemed possible. In Russia, the government has granted itself authority to use deep packet inspections of the internet. Journalists and bloggers have been murdered and beaten up. Intimidation is hardly investigated. In China, an estimated 30,000 people work on monitoring microblogging sites and to adjust the terms of censorship, some of which have been set technologically to make sure no search results are found when looking for information on, for example, Tiananmen Square. These countries are not at all unique in their repression of media and journalists. There are many countries where governments are using anti-terrorism and other national security laws to repress. Other problems are political interference through public media budgets, tax fines, or when politicians are owners of ever-growing media conglomerates. And of course, media are still used for outright propaganda as well. Additionally, the criminalization of speech is worrying, such as through blasphemy laws, libel, and through restricting, quote, homosexual propaganda. The EU, as a community of values, should aspire to lead in ensuring the free word, whether blogged or spoken, and information, whether researched or photographed, are protected. Journalists and a free pluralist media are essential for checks on power. And a focus on our neighbourhood is natural. By improving coordination between DEFCO and the External Action Service, we can achieve stronger results and impact globally. We must mainstream press freedom in all our policies on election observations, democracy, neighbourhood policies, trade and development programmes. The programmes we have should be deployed more effectively, but new ones are also necessary. Journalists facing trial should be able to rely on our know-how and on a legal defence fund. The end goal in all of our programmes should be that people do not depend on EU funding, but that programmes can run independently, that local capacity is built to stay, both on the government level and on the local and civil society levels. We must engage. And indeed, the private sector also has a role to play, to foster open societies. We call on businesses to take their responsibility. Especially with the growing digitization, the public value of information must be preserved. Self-regulation and privatizing of policing and law enforcement online are dangerous. But at the same time, we see opportunities in the empowerment of individuals who through social media can access information, assemble and speak freely. Citizen journalism makes us eyewitness to events as they unfold. In order to ensure our own independence in this Parliament and to make sure that the rankings of countries are not politicized, we've not mentioned countries explicitly in this report. But instead, we have addressed trends and problems faced, and we have focused on concrete solutions. But the assessment on the country-by-country situation is left to the combined work of 4 NGOs, and the work of them you'll find in the annexes. It will be updated on a rolling basis. And I want to thank them, their work, as well as the shadow rapporteurs. We've worked very well as a team, and it's been great to receive input from stakeholders, journalists, bloggers, and people all over the world on an online draft that has certainly made the work of this report and the content of this report more relevant on the ground. It is closely related to the digital freedom strategy for the EU's foreign policy, which was adopted last December, and we look forward to hearing about how a strategy for press and media freedom will be set up by the European External Action Service and the Commission. I believe that we have both a responsibility and an opportunity that we can take together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Schaake. And now, colleague Andrikiene, who has the floor.
Ačiū pirmininkė, aukštoji įgaliotinė, specialusis įgaliotinė kolegos. Aš kalbėsiu apie kitą dokumentą, apie ES gaires dėl religijos ir tikėjimo laisvės skatinimo ir